Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 166 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben and Joey. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Happy to be here.
Ben, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling well, and along with NBA hoops, we also have college basketball hoops pick. So can't wait to see how that goes and who ends up making the big March Madness dance later in the year.
Yeah, for sure. Basketball fully back in full force. In the NBA, there's been a lot of fun games going on lately, so we, of course, have a lot to talk about here today. No Nick, not feeling too well, lost his voice a little bit today, so we'll be three-man weaving it today, so we'll pull through form, and hopefully we can continue our incredible run on Pirtle, where in the last two episodes, we not only have we gotten the player in two tries, on our first attempt, we've guessed the team correctly on the first try. So we're going to try to go for it again and go with a guy that's making his season debut today, going with Jalen Green on the Phoenix Suns. So let's see what Jalen Green can get us. All right, not the team, but it's going to be a 6'4" guard in the Eastern Conference that is over 25 years old and over the number 6. A 6'4" guard in the East.
It's a lot of guards, I think, around that height.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. It could definitely be a lot of different players. But it's not like a super duper like younger guy. Like we could try to, we could go with like a veteran type of player
Is
and
Donovan
go
Mitchell
for it.
around that height? Or is he smaller? I
Uh,
think he's a little
I think
smaller. I
he's a
think he's
bit
like 6.
smaller.
yeah, I think he's smaller. Like I thought Norman Powell. I don't know what he's listed as for the Heat. He might be 6'3", but either way, I mean Norman Powell.
I'm good with
We're
that.
on the board. We want to try Norman Powell. I'll see if I can think of anyone else.
Stormin Norman.
Let's go with him. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
let's
All
try him.
right, Norman Powell has been off to a great start for the Heat so far. He is 6'3", but
Okay.
it's not in the Southeast. 31 or 30 years old.
Huh.
And in the Atlantic or Central?
Yep.
Let's see.
Definitely
Could
not the
be.
Cavs.
It could be the. What would it be? It could be Karis LeVert.
That's not a bad guess. What
You
number
say
is he?
LeVert's 6'4", 6'5". I believe he's number 8 now for his hometown, Detroit Pistons.
That would work.
What do you think, Ben? Think any other ideas?
Trying to think here. Man, I can't really think of anyone else. Yeah, I think try Karis LeVert. I feel good about trying him.
All right, let's try out Karis LeVert. Oh man, so close.
Ooh.
6'4", a
Yeah.
31-year-old in the Central Division. So this is Cavs, Pacers, Bucks, Bulls. Let's see there. Geez, 6'4". That's the thing. Like the listed heights. I'm just not sure because let's see the Bulls. There's Kevin Herter on the Bulls.
Is he? He's not
Um,
that old, though, is he?
yeah, I don't think he's that old either.
How old's
Milwaukee
TJ
Bucks.
McConnell? He's the only one I could think of possibly old on the Pacers.
Yeah, but he's not that tall.
Yeah.
What
Maybe
about Trey Jones on the Bulls?
he's another shorter guard, probably 6'1".
He's also
Maybe this is
pretty.
Gary Harris. I believe he's on the Bucks roster.
They
Yeah, I
do
think he
have
is.
him. I think Gary Harris is on their team, yeah.
Well, there's Gary Harris. There's Gary Trent Jr. that could be around there. Let's see. We want to try which one do we want to try to go with? I'm trying to think of who else it could be. I don't think. Nah, it's not going to be like Max Struess.
No.
I'm
Uh,
thinking Gary Harris.
I'm cool with
all right,
Gary
let's
Harris.
try. We'll try Gary Harris. Hopefully, it's one of the. Hopefully, it's one of the Garys. And it
It
is
was.
Yeah,
Gary Harris.
there
Nice.
we go.
All right, able to narrow it down and get Gary Harris in for a good start here on the episode. Now let's get into some news around the association. Let's talk about some teams that have been playing some solid basketball here to start the season and talk about the Lakers, man. We got to talk about the LA Lakers, who incredibly, despite LeBron James has not played a game yet this season with the sciatica. Luka Doncic in and out of the lineup with the left arm injuries. Austin Reeves has been out in and out of the lineup. Despite all of that, they are 7-2 on the season. They've won their last 5 games, and some of them have been incredibly impressive. I mean, all of them have been incredibly impressive. Come and last night defeating the San Antonio Spurs, who at that time had only lost 1 game as well. So Ben, let's start off with you. What has been the difference for the Lakers? What has stood out to you so far about how they've been able to still win with all these injuries?
Well, I mean, I think part of it starts with JG Redick and his coaching. I think JG Redick, is there really excuses put on these guys to what it seems like to be. Like even when say Luca was out for a few games, when LeBron's been out to start the year, I'm sure Redick's been telling those guys, "Hey, who's ever playing? Get in here, step it up, come in, play hard, do your thing. Your turn now." And he, he's told, I heard he told like Austin Reeves, you come in here and score a lot of points, even if no Luca, like LeBron, you could do your thing there, and Austin Reeves has been putting up a lot of points in games, and the Lakers have been playing some good defense recently. Guys have stepped up there, and I've been impressed with that. And DeAndre Ayton's been better than I thought he was going to be for them so far. He's had some good scoring nights and has been too bad defensively, and has definitely looked like an upgrade for them at center so far this year, which has been big for them. And Laravia has seemed to be a good addition. He's fitted pretty well with their system and has been nice off the catch and shoot for them offensively. He's had a few games with scoring a lot of points. So overall, I've been impressed and like a lot what I see from that team right now.
Yeah, Joey. I mean, a lot of things are going well for the Lakers so far. But before we get into the supporting guys that have been great, I mean, it's hard to look past the things that Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves have been doing. I mean, Luka is averaging 40 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists in his first 5 games of the season. And Reeves is averaging 31, 5, and 9. I mean, it's been crazy. They've been the best scoring duo in the league.
And both of them have been absolutely phenomenal. In the couple games that Doncic hasn't played, Austin Reeves has stepped up and played really, really well. And when Luka Doncic does play, like you said, it's probably going to be a 40-point game, probably a 40-point triple double if you're going to put money on it. He's been looking fantastic, top MVP candidate for sure. But yeah, no, those two for sure have been just absolutely lights out. But I definitely like what Ben said. I got to give a lot of the credit to the coaching staff, JJ Redick and the rest of the guys. Like they got just everybody clicking on all cylinders when they're coming back healthy. All the supporting guys are sticking to it and supporting the main two guys. I just can't wait till LeBron gets back.
Yeah, I mean, in each one of these wins, it feels like there's been like kind of that signature, performance by a player. I mean, they started back when they beat the Wolves on that buzzer beater from Reeves on last Wednesday, where Jake LaRavia had the incredible game. Luca comes back for the Grizzlies game, and he goes absolutely off. In the Portland game, which I did not think they were going to win, the game where they didn't have Luca or Reeves and LeBron already out, they get Nick Smith Jr. and DeAndre Ayton to go, crazy. And then this Spurs game, everyone really stepped up and played well, led by Luca. No Reeves in the lineup, and Rui Hachimura played well. DeAndre Ayton has been, fantastic. And they got a big game from Marcus Smart, who we haven't mentioned yet. Marcus Smart, so far for the Lakers, has played, like Marcus Smart, the Marcus Smart that we've known, from his days with the Boston Celtics. He hasn't shot the ball that well, but he's providing the defense. I mean, He's doing what he normally does. Sometimes he makes boneheaded plays on fouls or not stepping out of bounds to inbound the ball, which nearly cost them the game against the Spurs. But overall, the whole unit that they have put together there in LA has just done a terrific job of, keeping the foot down with so many guys in and out of the lineup. And Ben, I think what you said about JJ Redick and not having like a sort of a letdown regardless of who's in the lineup, I think that's so important, to keep winning games. Like there are no excuses. Austin Reed, everyone just is, elevated a little bit and everyone has been playing well. How long can it go for? We'll see because it's kind of been a magical run that they've been on in some of these games, but it has been incredibly impressive what they've been able to do on really the offensive end. The offense has been, what's been so amazing for them.
They've truly taken to that next man up mentality.
Yes, they have. Now, once again, very curious to see what happens when LeBron James comes back. And as of the day we're recording this, there was actually a report today, an update about LeBron James that he has been officially cleared for contact basketball activities, which will then ramp him up and he can do some 5-on-5 work. Then he'll get reevaluated in the next 1 to 2 weeks. But again, it's just going to be so interesting to watch, and we've talked about it, a lot on this podcast during the previews, and the last time we talked about the Lakers on the podcast about a week ago, where we've had concerns about the Lakers and the ball, there being one basketball for all these different guys that need the ball in their hands, and how does that work when LeBron comes back, especially with Luka and Reeves and really everyone off to the start that they're on. Joey, starting with you, what do you think it'll look like when LeBron comes back?
Um, I'll be honest. Originally, I was going to be really worried, but like I'm not too worried. I think JJ Redick and his team got it figured out because at least what I've seen so far is when they've been missing Luka and Austin Reeves, they have a good game plan and everybody kind of executes it. And even when they come back, they're doing the same thing and the guys fit in seamlessly. I think it's just going to be a great thing. It might be a little bit of misleading stats when he comes back just between Austin Reeves and Doncic and LeBron, but it'll probably even itself out. But I can't really imagine it going like completely off the rails because it really has been a lot of the other guys that have been like the glue, like a Marcus Smart or Aiton and Hachimura and Nick Smith, where they've literally just been the guys that just like, hey, 12 to 15 points here and there. That's all you need. 20 points from DeAndre on a constant night. Like, no matter what, that's probably going to be there because that's your inside scoring or outside shooting or guys just picking up loose balls and getting them. I think that's just kind of how it's going to continue to go. And like the other night against the Spurs, might lead to a couple ugly wins, but all that matters is the wins.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, how about you? I know you, like myself, we were both pretty, I don't know, a little worried about the Lakers heading into the season, with just the way that their roster was constructed. How do you think that it'll look? Because, I mean, Joe, you bring up good points with, these guys have been playing so well and their roles are kind of defined. But, Ben, how do you think it'll look when guys like Rui and Aiton are going to have to go back down kind of a notch? Because, I mean, let's be real, offensively, they're getting the ball a lot more right now than they will when LeBron comes back back into the swing of things. So how do you think it will look once James comes back?
So, yeah, I think for Rui and Eden that he just won't get the ball as much, just is what it is. LeBron's gonna really want the ball in his hands too still, even with him getting old now, he's still LeBron with that. And I think, with what I've seen for the Lakers so far, that I believe they'll hopefully make things fit all right when LeBron comes back and all the other guys impressed and have seen the bought in with what they've done so far without LeBron. So I hope some good success can continue there for the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. Again, it's 1 to 2 weeks until LeBron is reevaluated, and the Lakers coming off the win against the Spurs, who have been off to a good start to the season, themselves as well, but they're now 5-2 after losing back to back to the Lakers, and then back on Sunday they lost to the Phoenix Suns. Back to back games, Joey, where Victor Wembanyama doesn't have the greatest games. I mean, especially in the Phoenix game, he had just 9 points, got into foul trouble against the Lakers, fouled out, and of course, you give a lot of credit to the Lakers defense. But what do you think of what the Spurs have gone through these last couple games?
I think it's a wake up moment because they did get off to a really hot start, but it did kind of take everyone by surprise a little bit just because we all expected the Spurs to be good this year, but maybe not that good. Because yeah, we know how good Wemby is. It's as long as like he can put a consistent night in and night out, which obviously he cannot because he's still super young. And two back-to-back games, he hasn't had the greatest games. Still been super effective in doing things we've never seen. Not to take away from his ability, but he just has to be more consistent with it. But the rest of the guys, the way we were talking about the Lakers, how the rest of the guys are figuring it out and stepping up and stuff, it's kind of what they need to happen here. They have the guys, but it is, again, another thing about consistency. Then, yes, obviously they're missing Fox and Harper now, and I think they're still without Cornette, right?
Yes, Cornette got hurt. Yeah, a lot of guys ended up making their season debut in that Lakers game. Jeremy Sohan played his first game of the
Yep.
season, looked really good. Kelly Olynyk played his first minutes for the Spurs. Same with one of Joey's favorites, Lindy Waters. Uh,
Yes.
um, but yeah. So they've had guys in and out of the lineup as well. But from watching the Spurs Lakers game, I was able to watch the whole game, and my big takeaway was just, I mean, the Spurs look really good. Like they are a good team that are going to look even better when they get those other guys back because their offense, I mean, it looks like Spurs basketball. It looks like it's a well-oiled machine. I mean, during the first, couple quarters there, and in the third quarter when the Spurs were going on their run to take a double-digit lead, it just looked so perfect. Like guys were just in the right spots. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They got a whole lot of corner threes, which are just going up like so quickly with Champagny and Harrison Barnes being the two main guys I remember. Just quick catch and shoot releases, not even thinking about it because everyone knows their role there in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they will figure it out. Obviously, like I said, Wemby is still a super a young player still trying to figure some things out, and he definitely will. He's only going to get better.
That's the
But
thing. Like that's how far as like as good as like the rest of the guys are going to be, and they will continue to be more consistent and shoot more lights out. And obviously, when they get Harper and Cornette and Fox back, they're going to be even better. But they realistically, and we all know this, you're only going to go as far as your best player is going to take you. So if Wemby is there, putting that 25 plus points, 15 boards, 6 blocks, and like 7 assists, like he usually does, then the rest of the guys performing the way they're going to win every game. That's just how it's going to be. But you're going to get games like this where even though like the 9 points and you lose to the Suns, or against the Lakers when you shot it a little better and we're a little better. However, you fouled out, and even though the Lakers almost blew it and gave it in and almost gave it to you guys, it would have been weird. I was telling you in the pre-pod log when you were showing the highlights, that would have been really helpful to have a nice alley oop in there just to tie the game up to a 7'4", 7'5" Wembanyama. That would have really made it easier, but he'll pick those things up. I can't imagine it being like in every game now, but he's still super young. We got to give him a break every now and then.
Yeah, no question. Something that they are gonna need to figure out is the minutes with him off the floor, and it's like that with any team that has like this superstar young player.
It's not with Jokic all the time.
Right. But with Wemby, it's kind of on the other end as well. Ben, the numbers are, it's flat out staggering. The on-off numbers, specifically defensively, when he's off the floor. Overall, they have the second best defensive rating in the league. When he's on the floor, it's by far the best. I mean, the defensive rating, it's even better than the Thunder were last year. And then in the minutes where he's off the floor, it's by far the worst. Like it's a complete flip. It's definitely the worst defense in the league when he's off the floor. So, what do you think the Spurs need to do in order to keep up that defensive? Obviously you're not going to be close to the same defensive rating as you are with Wemby in the lineup, but what do you think the Spurs need to do to keep it at least at bay on the defensive end when Wemby's out?
Wow, yeah, that's a big difference right there. Um, well, I mean, they did have Jeremy Shohan who just came back last night against the Lakers. I think he's a good defender. I think he could help things out a bit there, but um, yeah, there's not really much great defenders behind Wemby who they can really throw on the floor when Wemby's out. So it's tough there for the Spurs right now, but maybe in the future they'll just have to look it up to get with, just starting to notice that now if you're the Spurs.
Yeah, and it should hopefully get better once they get Cornet back as well. But that's going to be something that they're going to need to figure out is the defense when Wemby is off the floor. Because I mean, like we've seen these last two games. I mean, you see, when Wemby's off the floor, now you can just get in the paint all you want. Teams are going to try to start figuring that out there. So the Spurs will have a chance to bounce back against, I believe, the hottest team in the NBA right now. Who let's go to them next. The Houston Rockets. Spurs and Rockets are going to play on Friday night, as this is coming out tonight at 7:30 p.m. for the NBA Cup. And my goodness, Joey, the Rockets, after starting 0-2, they've won their last 5 games, and they've looked very impressive. They haven't had any like super standout wins as far as your competition goes. They've had a pretty light schedule after those first couple of games, but they've absolutely destroyed in these games. They've won by double digits in 4 of the 5 games, actually by 15 plus in 4 of the games. And now they have the 5th best defense and the #1 offense in the NBA, the Houston Rockets. So what are you've been seeing from this Rockets team that's allowed them to go on this run?
Well, the offense part, like them having I'll start with the defense. They are a really good defensive team. We knew that going in, they were going to be a really good defensive team led by Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant and the rest of the guys. And Ime Udoka is a really good coach. That's just what it is. Offensively, Sengun is still fantastic, and you can still run the offense through him. Kevin Durant can shoot from anywhere and make it from anywhere, and he is as reliable as they come. But the third thing that has taken them to the absolute next level is Amen Thompson, because he has taken it to the very next level. Early front runner, I think, for most improved player of the year. Probably a front runner for probably making his first All-Star this year. He's looking fantastic. I just saw the last game that they won. He was like their leading scorer at like 28 points or something like that. Like he is playing fantastic basketball and still a monster on the defensive end. Like he's quite literally doing it all for him, and it's just been super fun to watch them.
Yeah, Ben. Amen Thompson's been great. Shengun has gotten even better. I mean, I think we talked about it a lot, how he needed to become a more efficient player on the offensive end. The 2-point shot, not he's still the touch around the basket isn't exactly where you'd want it to be for a big guy. But the 3-point shot, Ben, he's been taking it and hitting it, with confidence, with consistency and efficiency. And through 7 games, he's averaging 22, 10, and 7. I mean, he's been lights out.
Yes, again, he just looked even better to start this year, and Rocket should be really happy with his progress. And yeah, I think he'd be shooting the ball from free this good so far this year. He's impressed from there, and that's big for the Rockets. That just opens more up with the spacing. So that's been a really good sign for them. And Med Thompson, the Rockets should be really happy about his progress. His progress has gone, the way I would have liked to see it go with him if I were the Rockets. Like scoring's taking an uptake while he is still playing super good defense. And yeah, the Rockets, they're just really clicking. I think they're getting more chemistry down together and they're feeling it now.
Yes, they are. I'm very excited for this Rockets Spurs game here tonight. That should be a very competitive game, and just to see how Wemby will try to bounce back against all those bigs. I mean, Steven Adams has been great as well. Been the best. He's been the best offensive rebounder in the league this season. He's getting 5 offensive boards a game. Like he's been a beast on the boards. As have the Rockets. They are, let's see, I believe they're third in the league, fourth in the league in offensive rebounds per game, getting 14 and a half second chance possessions per game, and number 1 in the league overall in rebounds with 50 total a game. So they've just been super impressive, leading the league in point differential right now at 13, winning games by 13 points so far. Again, they haven't played, the craziest of competition besides the Thunder on opening night and then the Pistons in their home opener. The best team they've played so far this season, record wise, gosh, it might be the Raptors. Who are 4-4. They've been good, but they haven't played any standout teams. So this Spurs game will definitely be a test for that team. Some other things at the top of the Western Conference: the Thunder finally lost their first game to the Portland Trailblazers, who are now 5-3 on the season. So very impressive stuff with what the Trailblazers have done so far. Denver's now 5-2. They've been impressive so far as well. But now shifting over to the top of the Eastern Conference, this is where things don't make any sense right now, Joey. The Bulls, the Chicago Bulls, are 6-1, number 1 in the East after completing a crazy comeback at home against the 76ers, who were tied for first in the East at the time there. It's been crazy. The Bulls have been, awesome so far. What have you thought from Chicago?
Uh, yeah, they've been looking really good. Obviously, having the best record right now is extremely shocking. I had them. I think I was one of the only people on the pod that I think I was the only person who had them in the play-in. Even I think everyone else had them missing the playoffs or play-in. But because I thought they would be at least a mid-team, but obviously they're playing out of their minds. Matas Buzelis, one of our favorites. He's been playing really well. He's improved. Josh Giddey has been leading that team and has looked really good. They're getting game winners out of Vucevic. Like, there's not much else you can ask for. Like, all their big guys are playing up to what Billy Donovan and that whole franchise thought they could be, and they're exceeding expectations, honestly. Like, no matter what you say about it, like who they've played or whatever, they're winning those games. That's all that matters, because those will add up at the end of the season, possibly when you are possibly fighting for a playoff spot or a play-in spot or a lottery spot. Like, you got to win these early games, especially if you don't think that you could possibly keep it consistent throughout the whole season. It's just absolutely fantastic that they're getting out of in Chicago, man.
Yeah, Ben, what do you think has been the biggest key to the Bulls getting off to this 6-1 start?
Well, it's tough, but I'll say that Nikola Vucevic has looked better than I thought. He seemed to be a pretty good veteran leader on this team. He looks even better than he was last year with them. He had a big shot in the 76ers game, I believe, or, or something recently. And
Yes.
yeah, he's hit big shots recently. He can get you rebounds. His scoring's gone up so far this year. Plays a good defense too. Yeah, I just totally see this coming from Vucevic. That's been impressive. And Montes Buzelis, yeah, he's pretty good. I was pretty excited about him going in the Euros high on him going the year. So actually, I haven't been too surprised on him. But yeah, it's been great to see him playing well. He's a key to them, and Josh Giddey too. Man, I did not think he'd be looking like one of the top point guards in the league already to start the year with the way he's playing. Like he's just doing it all, like scoring a good amount of points, getting rebounds, getting assists. Like man, I thought Josh Giddey was good. I thought he was gonna be a lot of fun to watch, but I didn't think he'd be this good already. I think it was a huge win-win trade that the Bulls and the Thunder made 2 off seasons ago with each other, where the Bulls got Giddy and the Thunder got Caruso.
Yeah, it really has been crazy to see, particularly what Giddy has done. I mean, 23 points, 10 boards, 9 assists. I mean, he's looked like one of the best players in the league all around so far to start this season. And obviously, we are still super early, but we got to look at what we have so far. And he has been engineering this, you know, fast-paced Bulls offense, very, very, well there. And he's been efficient from the field as well. He's shooting 42% from three right now on 4 attempts per game. He's getting that floater. He's scoring in transition, dishing off to his teammates who are, all playing well. I mean, they've got, let's see, 8 players averaging 8.5 points or more, which is good. I know it's an arbitrary number, but if your eighth leading scorer is averaging 8.5 points per game, I mean, that's really good balance there from your team. Ayo Dosunmu is averaging 16 points per game off the bench, incredibly efficient, 58, 48, 85 shooting splits. Isaac Okoro has been a good defensive pickup for them in the offseason. And Trey Jones, same thing from the Zach LaVine trade. They got him from the Spurs, and he's been a nice addition as another, guard that can make plays and has been one of the top leaders in the league in steals so far to start the season as well. So it's been very impressive. Again, they've, now they are in a stretch of playing a lot of other teams in the Eastern Conference, that are looking to do some big things. They just beat the Sixers. Now they play at Milwaukee, at Cleveland, home against the Spurs, then at Detroit. Then later on that road trip, they have to play at Denver and at Portland. So, very quickly we could see them come back down to earth, and they could be at 500 after that stretch. You just don't really know. But, for this start, Bulls deserve a lot of credit because, Joey, you're absolutely right. I mean, these games, it doesn't really matter who they've played. If they want to make up the postseason, I mean, all these games add up at the end of the season.
And quite possibly an early favorite, or at least one of the early teams I'm watching for this NBA Cup, because there's always a team that's surprising, at least early on, and the way they've been playing, they can keep this hot streak going. We saw a couple of years ago with the Pacers coming out of nowhere to make it all the way to the end. Who knows? Chicago's clicking on all cylinders right now.
Definitely possible. They already beat New York by 10 in their first NBA Cup game tonight. They play at Milwaukee, who's been good so far to start the season. And then a couple weeks later, they play Miami and Charlotte. So those they definitely could be possible that they could somehow win the group there. If they beat the Bucks, they should be able to win the group. But the Heat, one would be a tough game as well. But overall, shout out to the Bulls for the 6-1 start on the season. Right below them in the standings is the Detroit Pistons at 6-2, who have won their last 4 games after starting the year at 500 at 2-2. They've got the third best defense in the league, 18th best offense. That's kind of what you'd expect from this Detroit team. The two big players that I would like to talk about here. Obviously, Cade Cunningham has been very good to begin this season. He's coming off of back-to-back games where he scored 19 or more points in the fourth quarter to get the Pistons a couple of wins, which those are that doesn't really happen a whole lot. Back-to-back games with around 20 in the fourth quarter, very impressive stuff. But someone who has taken a leap for that team has been Jalen Duren. He has been phenomenal, averaging 18 and 11 right now, getting to the free throw line, knocking down his free throws at an 83% clip. I believe, it was their last game in their win against Utah, had 22 and 22 boards against a big Dallas Mavericks team in the game they played at Mexico City. He had 33 points. I mean, we've been talking about this Pistons team, and if they're going to take a jump in the East, they needed one of those young guys to really take a serious jump. And Asar's been good. Jaden Ivey still hasn't played a whole lot yet. Isaiah Stewart's been good. Rod Holland's been solid. But Jalen Duren has been the guy that looks like a different player than he was last year.
Yeah, I mentioned, in the off season before the season started that, yeah, I was believing the Pistons could be up there as one of the higher seeds in the East throughout the year. But that also Jalen Duren's going to step it up and look even more improved. And yeah, so far, Pistons, one of those teams that look smart on so far. And Duren, on his last game against the Jazz, he had like 22 rebounds. Just crazy. It's crazy how much rebounds he could get a game sometimes. He's done it like multiple times before in his career. Then scored like at least 20 points, I believe, the Jazz game too. I know the Jazz aren't a great team, but I mean that's still pretty impressive to do in a game by him. And yeah, his scoring just looks even better. He's a guy that plays hard and has looked uh it has made things tough on opposing players like I figured he would be.
The entire team is looking really good. But yeah, Jalen Duren is absolutely fantastic. I think Nick has him in fantasy, so I think he's been pretty ecstatic with the start he's had. If he was here to
Yeah.
tell you, but yeah, Cade Cunningham's been fantastic as well. Let's not take away anything from that. He is clearly the catalyst, and like we were saying with the Spurs, they're only going to go as far as Wemby takes them. Cade Cunningham is playing really, really well, and they can go pretty far if he takes them there. And I believe in him. But once they get Jaden Ivey fully back, that's who like. If Jaden Ivey picks up where he was from last year, Jalen Duren is clicking, and Cade Cunningham is Cade Cunningham, and all the other supporting cast. This is a very dangerous team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they definitely can be. Something that still does kind of need to get figured out is the 3-point shooting, like we talked about coming into the year. Besides Duncan Robinson, who's been a great addition to their team, their like other best 3-point shooter has been Isaiah Stewart, believe it or not, who's been taking more threes this year. But besides that, it has still been a struggle from 3-point land for the Detroit Pistons. Even like Tobias Harris is having a cold start to the year. Kate Cunningham's only shooting 31%. Thompson, obviously not a shooter. Karis LeVert hasn't shot the ball well to start the season. So they're going to have to find a way to get that, improved if they're going to keep going here. I mean, their defense is going to be, very, very good, or at least it should be with all the, athletes that they have there. But when it comes down to crunch time, you're going to need to knock down some big time shots, and they, don't really have a lot of guys that can do that. Now, something that is going to be interesting is I don't know if you guys saw this, but I don't remember what day it was, but Malik Beasley, who was, of course, was on the Pistons last year, great 3-point shooter for them. One of the best, was second in the entire league in 3-pointers made. Of course, not back with them because of the investigations during the summer for the gambling a couple of seasons ago. But he was on like a Instagram live or something where he was like answering questions, and he confirmed that if he comes back to the NBA, it will be with the Detroit Pistons that he would come back. So that would be the shooter, if he's able to get cleared to play, he would join this Pistons team again and add some 3-point shooting to this team.
That would really, really help them. That would be awesome for Detroit if that would happen.
Yeah, so overall, Pistons off to a solid start here. I mean, well, more than solid. I mean, 6-2 for them. This is their best start in. Want to say I think I saw since like the 09-10 season, 08-09, around there. It's been a long time, of course, since the Pistons have been competitive and off to a great start this season. For them in the last few years. But going down a little bit more in the Eastern Conference, let's talk about our Cleveland Cavaliers, who are now 5-3, and despite getting a lot hit by the injury bug early in the season. But some good news about that. Last game, Darius Garland made his return to the lineup after the turf toe surgery that of course had an impact on him in the playoffs and then missing the first few games of the season. He came back. Jared Allen came back from his little injury. Same thing with Sam Merrill. And a team that they've just been kind of getting by with all these injuries, winning off the incredibleness of Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley playing, well. But against the 76ers, who I know we're on the second night of a back-to-back, but played their best offensive game of the season for the Cavs in those beautiful classic jerseys, Joey. Just what have your thoughts been on the Cavs so far to start the season and in that game with Garland back?
I've been very patient with the Cavs. At being a Cavs fan, I'm trying to be at least patient because I know it hasn't really looked that good this year at all. But last game gave me a lot of hope for why I'm so patient, and it's because of Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Sam Merrill, getting our guys healthy again. Because we looked really good. And again, yeah, no Joel Embiid back to back. They didn't have Jared McCain who played the game before. Like they're dealing with their own injuries themselves, but they still have Tyrese Maxey, who's been absolutely phenomenal this year so far. But Donovan Mitchell looked fantastic, but our offense looked so just complete, moving, everybody moving. Jared Allen getting involved, Sam Merrill, just everybody. Garland being the catalyst, like just having him as another creative option on the floor with Donovan Mitchell, it makes our offense just so non-stagnant, which it, at least from me watching the rest of the games this year, it's looked like our offense has been that. It's been Mitchell or Mobley or random people here and there that somehow make shots every now and then. That's just, it's looked a little jumbled, but the offense looked clear and smooth and much better with just Garland out there. Even though he wasn't 100%, it was his first game. He hit a couple threes, got a couple assists. Like just even having him out there, it gave us the threat, gave us more space. It just looked much better. And again, Jared Allen had a fantastic game. Obviously, without Joel Embiid to be a problem for him because he wasn't there. But that was really nice to see as well.
Yeah, Ben, what have your thoughts been on the Cavs so far throughout the season?
I think the Cavs, like Joey said, I'm trying to be patient with them, but um, with what I've seen in their last few games, I've seen improvement. The offense has looked pretty good just recently, and boy, Mitchell won a game 46 points against the 76ers. Can't complain about him having a huge scoring night and one of the better scoring nights of his career in that game. And Sam Merrill has been worth that contract the Cavs gave him. I'm pretty happy the Cavs decided to back him. He shot it well so far this season. Jalen Tyson, he got off to a rough start in his first few games, but he's picking it up recently. He's looked more better offensively. I like him as a good, like, versatile, athletic defender. I'm happy that we have Tyson, that we drafted him a few years ago, and the Cavs, it's not all perfect still, but things are starting to go up. As of course we mentioned, Garland's back. That's big. That's your main starting point guard back. He could dish you more assists, help things get more moving. More movement offensively, and Cavs. Something to do to clean up is it's just sometimes the Cavs have had some bad runs of letting teams get back in games have gone a bit too relaxed. Just you know, gotta keep your foot on the gas pedal more. But I think they'll get that down eventually. I've heard Kenny Atkinson's been harping on the team with that. Just trying to keep things moving well consistently.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, yeah, agree with everything you said there. I mean, Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he's been awesome. I mean, it's crazy. He's the efficiency he's played with so far this season when he's kind of been more jump shot oriented this year than, years past has been crazy to watch. I mean, he's shooting 58% from the field and 45% from 3, taking more jump shots than he has in, his entire career so far. He hasn't been attacking the paint as much. Glad we saw that in the Sixer game. He got to the free throw line a whole lot. Yeah, Mobley, Mobley's been good on both ends of the floor. You mentioned Merrill Allen. Yeah, Jalen Tyson, he's definitely played well the last few games. He's been a very nice spot up shooter that can play the defense. The one thing, G's got to just stop fouling. That is a problem right now. His nickname is Hacky Chan for a reason. He's averaging about 4.5 fouls a game, which is not gonna be able to hold, the fort going forward. But overall, I've been happy with where they've been at. It hasn't been too hard for me to really be patient with them, so far to start this season. It's I'm enjoying the ride of seeing, how this is all going to come together. I know last year with the season starting 15-0, everything was kind of just put in place right from the beginning, and we didn't really have to see any adjustments really throughout the season. So I'm very interested this season where we're going to actually get to see adjustments with lineups, adjustments with, schematic changes on both ends of the floor. And rotationally, like in the rotation when these guys are healthy, because of course Max Strus is still out. Hunter was out for the Sixer game. Like when everyone's healthy, who gets the short end of the stick in this rotation? Because of the experience that these guys have now gotten here, like these are now, really good main state rotation players. This is one of the deeper teams now in the league, and the coaching staff's going to have a very, difficult time figuring out, who's not going to play on an every night basis. Because like a guy like Jalen Tyson, who at the start of the year, you'd be like, yeah, he's too young and inexperienced. He's put together 4 to 5 straight games of looking really good on both ends of the floor, and now it's like he's got to play. Like he's making it so that he can't get taken out of the rotation.
He's making it difficult, but if I'm looking at somebody who's going to get out of the lineup, and get out of the rotation, it's probably going to be either him. I may be crazy, Craig Porter Jr. I'll be honest, I'd rather see Tyrese Proctor out there than Craig Porter. I might be a little crazy on that, but
I think that is a little crazy. Don't understand that one, but
I don't know. I've been really liking Tyrese Proctor. I want to see more of him.
I think we'll see more of him throughout the season. I mean, we've gotten more of Craig because of Craig Porter because of the point guard stuff, but even that Craig Porter's been really good too.
I was going to say, nothing to take away against him. I just want to see Proctor because he's a younger guy, and I've already seen Craig for the last couple of years, but Craig has been playing and running the offense in Garland's absence pretty well, so.
Yeah, and Proctor he'll hit threes when he gets more time out there, but even then, like, that's not even part of those guys are not even going to play. Like Porter and Proctor are not going to play in this final rotation. Like it's going to come down to Tyson, Wade, and Nance. Like when the Cavs are fully healthy, one or two of those guys is not going to be in the main state rotation, which speaks to where the team is at depth wise. I mean, they're a very good team. They're a very, very good team. And I think part of it, and then Joe, you can go ahead. I think Cavs fans got to realize that this team is really good and try to appreciate it more than I think we have.
Yeah. That makes sense. No, that makes sense. I was just about to say, when you mentioned Dean Wade, I'm like, I really hope he's not injured too long because he went out in that Sixers game with an eye poke. So hopefully it's not too bad.
Right, and then even then, he hasn't been off to a great start shooting the ball, but his defense is always there, and he'll get the shot going as well. So yeah, definitely been impressed by the Cavaliers and what they've been able to do so far. Should only get better now that Garland is back there, and they'll play some lesser competition coming up here. But yeah, definitely impressed by what the Cavs have done so far. Not a whole lot of other things to go over in the Eastern Conference. The Knicks have started to pick things up a little bit. They've, interesting with the Knicks so far this season. They are now, I believe they are 5-0 at home and 0-3 on the road. So it's they're 5-3. All the wins have been at home, all the losses on the road. So that's an interesting wrinkle here to start the season for that team. Their thing has kind of been, defensively, that's kind of been their problem with kind of allowing guys to just dribble, right by their guy and get to the rim and then dish out or score. I guess. Oh, last thing on the Cavs. I meant to bring this up because Ben brought it up. The blowing leads or whatever, or allowing teams to creep back in the game. That is definitely something that they need to figure out. Definitely a mental thing because you can see at the start of the third quarter against Philly, they come out guns blazing, like they look, incredible. Then in the fourth quarter, when they have the lead, they start to let their foot off the gas a little bit. The Sixers, still playing hard there on the second night of a back-to-back. But either way, like all the things that we're talking about with the cap, these are all great problems to have. Like, it'd be more of a problem if we weren't getting up by 20 points in the game to then be in the position to lose. Like, these are all good problems to have right now for these contending teams.
Agreed. Especially with only being a couple weeks into the season.
Yeah, for sure. Still just 8 games into the season. Now we've gone from the Eastern Conference. Let's go to the bottom of the West, the bottom of the Western Conference, which is shifted a little bit here. Last episode, we were talking about the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 0-6, and I specifically was calling for Willie Green's job. And boy, oh boy, he came so close, I believe, to getting fired in that Hornets game. They almost lost the game to the Hornets. They were getting outplayed the whole game, but then Jose Alvarado and Derek Queen decided to literally save Willie Green's job, go on a 10-0 run to win the game. Then the Pelicans go on the road and defeat the Mavericks again. Cooper Flag missed a last-second jumper that could have tied the game, which makes the Mavericks now 2-6 on the season, same record as the Pels, and now the Mavericks are ranked the lowest in the Western Conference. Ben, what is going on in Dallas right now? I think what we have to start off with is the offense, because out of 30 teams in the league, they rank 30th in offensive efficiency.
Ooh, yeah, that offensive efficiency rating is not too good. Yeah, boy, they just to be the Mavericks don't have a lot of guys who can really like create and be explosive offensively, and their shooting is very good. I mean, you know, have great shooters, and with all these big guys they have, it just seems hard for them to me in the like floor space and stuff, and those have been their biggest issues to me. I think defensively they haven't been too bad there. They've looked good at times defensively. I mean, they give up a whole lot of points to the Pelicans. They have like big, tall guys and good lengthy defenders that can help with good defense, but it's just the offense that can get it to be a mess. And seems like the Mavericks, between coaching and the players, are struggling to figure out how they should exactly go about things offensively. With now Cooper Flag in there developing, and then Anthony Davis has been in there when he's been healthy. He's missed these last few games due to injury. Anthony Davis. And then, of course, they still have Kyrie on their roster. Supposed to come back later in the year, but man, the Mavericks could be maybe in a rough spot later in the year. They're in a tough situation right now, and I don't think the Luka trade has turned out to be so good on them. Now, I, I think the Mavericks will definitely be a better team. You know, they kept Luka and stuff, and would be explosive offensively. They have issues fixed there that they're having big issues with now. And I'm thinking if things just continue to go bad for the Mavericks, that they should even explore possibly moving on from Anthony Davis to like a trade.
Yeah, definitely could be possible. Things have not been going well for the Mavericks so far this season. They did just make a lineup change. We've been talking about the whole, point guard thing with Cooper Flag, who, as of course, the youngster, still just a couple weeks into his NBA career, has had his ups, he's had his downs. As the point guard, I mean, he's averaging, less than 3 assists per game on their team. The leader is D'Angelo Russell at 5.6 assists per game. They moved him into the starting lineup. They put Klay Thompson on the bench, who's been in a big shooting slump himself. And he actually had a pretty good game off the bench against the Pelicans. So they, I think they'll keep this lineup going with, Klay off the bench, D'Lo starting, and it should make them better, Joey, you would think, once they have the lineup out there. Because right now, it just has been a disaster on the offensive end.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look good. It's exactly what Ben said and what we were all worried about at the beginning of the year with them. It's like, hey, they got a lot of talent and all the big guys and Cooper Flag and Anthony Davis and a couple role guys, but their point guard situation, until Kyrie comes back, they don't have a solo creator who can also play make and get people involved. D'Angelo Russell's been doing a solid job, but he's just not that efficient, and you can't really rely on him on the offensive end. Because that's the point. You can only be so good at a creator and a playmaker like D'Angelo Russell if you can score the ball at an efficient clip. Because people aren't going to bite on the fakes as much if they're just going to let you shoot it and brick it. They don't really care. They'll be fine to get the rebound. And I don't know. Cooper Flag, his development, like he'll be fine. He's still super young. I got no problem with that. Don't mind that idea, Ben, of them possibly looking on to trade Anthony Davis, because it really, when they did trade for him, at least in my opinion, and obviously they did get Cooper Flag, they only had a year or two, like 2 year window or something like that, in my opinion, to like actually prove it to win. And it's definitely not the start they were hoping for. Obviously, hopefully when Kyrie comes back, but that's not going to be for a while still.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if we can go that far with trading Anthony Davis until we see what it looks like with Kyrie on the floor, because that is kind of the whole point of why they made the Luka trade, was so that they would have all these big guys that could defend and rebound and all that stuff with Kyrie Irving, with the ball in his hand. So I don't think that it's fair to start looking at trades when we haven't seen what it looks like with Kyrie with these guys. Because even I know the only like saving grace we have was that one half against the Rockets last year in AD's first game, where they looked great with Kyrie in there, with Clay, PJ, AD, and Lively and Gafford. And of course, now Cooper Flag is there. So, I think that regardless of what happens, I think they got to stick with what they got here, because it's not fair to that. It really isn't fair if they, would blow up the Anthony Davis part of it when, Kyrie Irving isn't even there yet. So I think we'll still see that, hold forth, though. I have been thinking a little bit about Anthony Davis trades, though, and where that would, where he could potentially go. And, you never know if it were able to come down to an Anthony Davis trade. What if the Pacers snuck in and got Anthony Davis? Of course, they're a team that wants to be competitive next year, and don't have a center right now, and they don't really have one long term either. Obviously, losing Miles Turner. So if there was a trade, I think the Pacers could be a sneaky team to get Anthony Davis, but I don't think it is going to happen. I think we're gonna, we'll see the Mavericks try to boil, out of this thing. But just an interesting thought I had.
If it's going to happen, I think it'll happen closer to the trade deadline or even at the end of the year, like in the offseason if they miss the playoffs and the play-ins entirely. I think that's a very real possibility that they're going to shake things up, or Nico Harrison's going to skedaddle and get the hell out of there. But whatever happens, happens. But for sure, they still got to see Kyrie, because that's their big thing. They still have a creator, even though they gave up Luka. It's just that he's hurt. When is he coming back, though? New Year, is it?
We really don't know. There's really no way to tell. I mean, obviously, a lot of guys have been coming back earlier than expected from these injuries. Like Anthony Edwards was out for a little while. He came back earlier than expected. We're talking in the pre-pod lobby. Darius Garland came back than I think any of us expected. Here to start the season. Same, we'll see with LeBron, when that happens as well. But just a whole lot of different guys coming back sooner than expected. We'll see the Mavericks keep on going here. Try to get some wins in these next few games. They play at Memphis tonight for the NBA Cup, then at Washington, who they've already lost to, the Wizards. So if they lose twice to the Wizards, then we can start to say the sky is falling a little bit. But until then, they'll just have to get out of this rut here. But like you were talking about in the East, Joey, with the Bulls, how it's so important to take care of business early on in the schedule. I think for the Mavericks, maybe more so than any other team in the league, because they've had the ability. They've had a ton of home games to start the season. Like, they played their first 5 games at home, and looking at their schedule, out of their first 18 games of the season, they only have 5 road games through their first 18 games. So if they can't be, a 500 team or close to that, then yeah, unless they, if they're one of the weird teams that ends up having a better road record than home record, then it's just going to be tough for them because you're Dallas is a great home court advantage. They have great fans there in
Oh
Dallas.
yeah.
If they're not able to get wins with 13 of the first 18 games in your own barn, it's only going to get harder the rest of the season because you don't have as many games, obviously, in front of your fans.
If we're talking like about the Western Conference too, like we always talk about how loaded the Western Conference is. You got to take advantage of these home games and losing. I'm sorry, losing to the Pelicans is just crazy work. But like,
And the Wizards,
and
and the
the
Wizards.
and the Wizards is bad. Like the Wizards have one win on the season.
And it was that game.
It was that game. Like
Oh,
I don't see like all the teams that are behind, are in the 11 through 15, the Kings, the Jazz, the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and the Mavericks. Those are the teams I expect to be in the bottom now at the end of the season because the way as much as we love making fun of the Phoenix Buns, Devin Booker and that team has been playing well. And as we're recording this, Jalen Green has returned. Thank you for fantasy. But he's been balling for them too. Like the Phoenix Suns have not looked that terrible. Like they could sneak in above those teams, especially if Dallas doesn't get their crap together quickly.
well, yeah. I mean, you just look at the way things are going here to start the season at the bottom. Of course, the Mavericks have struggled. Pelicans have struggled. The Grizzlies have the Ja Morant whole saga to figure out now, which we didn't think coming into the season. Utah has been, very competitive so far. Don't expect them to be this high, especially with the news that we got of Walker Kessler out for the season with the shoulder surgery. Just real quickly on him, just a tough news to hear there. I mean, he's been off to such a great start this season. I mean, he only ends up playing 5 games, but averaged 14 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, 2 blocks, a steal and a half, shooting 70% from the field. He was 6 for 8 from three this season and 70% from the line. So he might be the first player ever with a 70-70-70 shooting there for the season there, even though it's 5 games. But, just so difficult for a guy that, I mean, he looked awesome. And, now the Jazz also don't have a whole lot of, big depth either. I mean, we're talking during the pre-pod lobby. I mean, they're bigs now. I mean, obviously Markkanen's a big, and he's been a 30-point scorer so far this season. But then it's Filipowski, it's Nurkic, and it's our boy Kevin Love. So it's
K
not,
Love time.
but yeah. But what we were saying, yeah, these teams at the bottom of the West, yeah, Utah. I mean, they should go back down now. You never know though. I mean, the Jazz
Yeah.
should be a tanking team. The Kings, the Kings are going to be in a lot of. Verdict is still out on whether they'll be good or not, but they'll be in a lot of good games, which should keep them, in the middle. Suns are now 4-5 after beating the Clippers. The Clippers are now 3-5 on the season. I don't think they're going to stay there for that long. They've been in and out of the lineup with, certain guys, injury wise. So yeah, I mean, I think things are still open and we're still trying to figure some things out, but you're right, Joey. Quickly at the bottom of the West, I mean, with the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, and the Jazz, it's not too crazy to say that those 3 teams are going to be at the bottom. And then if it keeps going like this, Dallas is going to be down there.
Especially with the way the Suns have been playing much better, like playing the Clippers, even though the Clippers are starting off a little rough. We've been saying it the whole offseason. They're a team built for the playoffs. As long as they start to stay in that playoff picture, they're going to be fine, I think. But we were talking like the Portland Trailblazers are 5-3 right now. They are at the 6th seed. They are playing out of their minds with Tiago Splitter at coach. And if they continue to play that well, even if they do drop a little bit, they can still easily be a play-in team. And that is bad news for the Dallas Mavericks again.
Yeah, for sure. So Ben, what are your final thoughts on this the situation, I guess, overall at the bottom of the Western Conference?
Well, speaking on Dallas, yeah, I agree with you guys. Yes, they should look to see what they got with Kyrie and AD before deciding on something. But yeah, who knows? Maybe the Mavericks will climb up and get a playoff spot, which I was thinking before the year if they get the offensive issues figured out and AD could look dominant at all coming up. Then Kyrie just gets picked for being Kyrie looking really good when he returns. But the Suns, yeah, they've been around kind of how I thought they've been so far this year. They're a team that could possibly make the play in if they keep playing decently well and competitive. And Devin Booker's been really good so far. Been been a star, like I figured, and they've looked better defensively as a team so far this year. And Jordan Knox, a good head coach so far for them, getting good development out of Phoenix Suns guys. He was a good player development coach with the Cavs. And Jalen Green, Joey mentioned he was balling against the Clippers. I mentioned before the year, I think Jalen Green could ball for them this year, and that could help them be competitive because I knew past years, like with the Rockets, Jalen Green was still pretty good for them in the regular season. I was confident in that this year on the Suns. Then, yeah, the Pelicans, I figured they'd be near the bottom, and the Kings are kind of like what I thought, and Grizzlies. I didn't think Ja Morant's drama would get so crazy. I, I didn't pick Ja Morant for like the most drama player for this season, but he could be that guy this year with the way things are going. In Portland, yeah, I was thinking they improve a bit more, but wouldn't look this good. But we'll see. I really like Portland Trailblazers basketball. They're fun to watch, and I like what they've built. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by the Trailblazers, how they can keep doing in the loaded West for the rest of the year. They'll be a team to watch.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely a lot of things, a lot of interesting storylines to watch as the season goes along here. We'll see where all these teams are at the next time we record on Monday night and for Tuesday's episode. But that's all we've got here for today. You guys have anything else before we get out of here?
Don't think so.
Well, let's peace on out of here then. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.